handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
And now, broadcasting live from deep within the borders of occupied liberal territory known as California, Luca Zanna with Love, Guns, and Freedom.
All systems go.
Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves. Don't tread on us. You cross the line. Soon you will pay.
Hi everybody, this is Luca Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. And today's Sunday. A lot of guests, two guests, and a lot of information, a lot of news. Before we start with today's show, I would like just to give you a little heads up, first of all, about the guest. We have a great guy, I really like him. I don't know if he's first an attorney or a musician, but I think he's both. I know musically he's great. But as attorney, he's great too. I heard good stuff about him. So anyway, you will know better about him. His name is Engan. He's an Arizona attorney from Kingman. And we'll talk with him a little bit about freedom, about rights, and more important, about Arizona gun laws. You know, many of us, I hope every one of us, has guns. But besides training, that is very important, we should also train with the laws, understanding our rights, understand how to be a law-abiding citizen and respectful of the laws of the state of Arizona. So that's pretty much the idea today with him. Then second hour, we have a guest that last week, unfortunately, for family reasons, couldn't make it. His name is Mark Corky, famous militia leader from the Michigan militia. Also one of the person that I believe has been one of the pioneers into bringing the news about this coming global government. In the 90s, he used to have a great show, and it's called the Intelligence Report, on shortwave before even the internet was there. So I think, Mark is a guy that he brought a lot of information, and somehow we will talk about him a little more later, second hour. Before we start, I need to say a couple important things today. First of all, I need to thank my sponsors because, freedom of speech is not free, as we know, and differently from the government that asks you money with a gun pointed at your face. We just politely, it's called free market, So we're here because you're listening, and we appreciate that. And for me, it's an honor because somebody like me that was even born in this country, a language, even English is becoming my first language. I still have some, deficiencies. So I appreciate the honor. It's a privilege to be here and try to broadcast and share my message of love and freedom with my American audience. So I want to thank my sponsor because they make this happening. First sponsor, we have, first of all, a shop. It's called the Colorado River Vapor. It is in Fort Mojave. He's a friend, by the way, Tom Sanford and his wife Karen, great guys. I remember I met Tom at a front-side class. I invited him a couple years ago for 4 days, a front-side class. We had a great time, and we shot together. He enjoyed guns. I know Tom is also a guy that he loves freedom. He served in the Air Force, and he has this great idea. By the way, 2 years ago when we were shooting a front-side at this class, he was talking to me about this idea of his new business, and they wanted to do this business with these alternative cigarettes, vapor cigarettes. And you know what? Guess what? He's making it. He has a great shop. I went there. You can see the photos on the Facebook we took together. And also give me a nice little vapor cigars. You can see on the internet when I upload the show live. I like, honestly, I'm more for the real cigars. But guess what? If sometimes you go in places that you cannot smoke, like now restaurants, it's a great idea. And by the way, it's tobacco free. So thank you for Colorado River Vapor. Thank you very much. Check them out. Go there. And they have a great place to live music, by the way. I will talk with Eric in a few minutes. Maybe we should go there and do some jamming there because they have a great stage with all the music instruments ready to go. Second sponsor, okay, we have a gun shop. A great gun shop is also a gunsmith. So it's more than just a gun shop. It's MP Guns. MP Guns, you can find them online, mpguns.com. Also, you can find them on Highway 95, across Maverick in Fort Mojave. And the phone number is 444-5905. Great selections and great information. So they can also help you out, especially if you're a new person that you need to learn which gun you want to get. Go there, ask for Neil. He's a great guy. I'm going to have him on the show next week probably. And he can give you a lot of advice. Now, enough with the sponsor. Big news before we continue. I have my new CD coming out. Guess what? That's one of the way I make my living, okay? So I appreciate your help. It's called Love, Guns, and Freedom. It took me 3 years to put it together. All songs from my blood and tears. And, I'm kind of an emotional guy. And, I'm a drama queen. And I love music. I love drama. Because music, I think, is emotions, okay? So there is for everything. There is songs for freedom, song for the revolution, but also songs for love. So today we will play some of them. And I would like to give one free CD to the first caller that you will call when I open the calls in the second hour, and they must repeat this magic phrase. Please write it down. It's important. If you say this phrase over the radio when you call in, I give you a free CD on my Love, Guns, and Freedom. Otherwise, you got to pay $10. The phrase is, Obama is a fascist. If you say that when you open the line, you get a free CD. I'll send it to you, okay? Now, back to business. We have here Eric Engan. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Slow down a little bit, Luca. I'm still writing down your phrase.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say again, Eric. I'm sorry, we miss you. Go ahead.
I said slow down, Luca. I'm still trying to write down your phrase about Obama.
Okay, Eric, let me tell you again. It's called Obama is a fascist.
Fascist. F-A-S-C-I-S-T. Fascist.
Perfect. So you got a free CD right there for you.
I got one already, but still call in because you can win your own.
And also you got a free beer. As you know, you can drink beer, I can't. So he has a special bonus because, when you want to hire Eric, you need to also bribe him a little bit, Yeah, he likes beer, he likes music, so that's great. I would like to speak a little bit now about Eric, seriously. I met Eric Engan indirectly a few years ago when I was trying to expose the county, Mojave County, with other fellow Americans regarding the violation of several rights. At the time, it was a friend of mine that his name is Mervyn, called also Mervyn Pitchfork, that he was arrested for trespassing because the moment that there was a day that we were attending a town hall meeting, board of supervisor meeting, and, people carry their guns, and Mervyn, he was carrying, oh my God, oh, that's great. Oh, 1 sec, that was...
Come on now, Luca. Dead air is a sin.
It was a ghost in the room. Something happened. Anyway, Mervyn was attending the meeting of the board of supervisor, and he was carrying his pitchfork on sling. Remember that?
I do indeed.
And so what happened? Remind us a little bit of the story.
Well, at the time, Mojave County had its weapons policy, and they were not permitting people to bring weapons in. Well, actually, let me back up. They were permitting people to bring weapons in. If you had a holstered handgun, you could come in with your holstered handgun at a public meeting of the Board of Supervisors. And Mr. Freed, who is Pitchfork, as we call him, Pitchfork decided, well, I want to bring in my pitchfork because this is a sign of protest. Historically, it's been something like pitching the cow manure out of the stable, pitching out the crooked politicians out of public life, that sort of thing. So he brought his pitchfork. He did put it on a sling so it wouldn't be in his hands looking like he's brandishing a weapon, and he planned to sell it out very carefully. And he went into the Board of Supervisors and started to go in, and he was stopped there by the county manager, who would not permit him to bring in his pitchfork. And, of course, he had a recording of the interaction between him and the county manager, and he sought to check the pitchfork. Well, if you won't let me bring it in, please provide safe and secure storage for it. And they wouldn't store it for him, and they insisted he remove it, and he insisted on bringing it in. Subsequently, he was arrested, charged with disorderly conduct. We wound up going to trial before a judge. I don't recall his name. A judge who does not normally sit in Mojave County because Mojave County was involved. And this judge presided over a fairly contested trial. The then county manager, Mr. Walker, appeared for the trial, testified, and eventually we were able to uphold Pitchfork's right to carry in his pitchfork as a symbol of protest. So that was a win for Pitchfork.
Excellent. And, I remember that because I think it was very important. That was part of also enforcing and the Arizona laws, because Mervyn was completely a law-abiding citizen. He was carrying a weapon. His weapon of choice, of course, wasn't my first weapon as a choice, but that his choice was a pitchfork. He had a sling. And if everybody was allowed to carry a gun with a holster, he should have been allowed to do what he wanted to do with it. So I really appreciate your help, what you gave it to him about that matter. And, also, I know that you're more than just an attorney. You're also a resident of Arizona, of course. You've been living here many years. How many years you've been living in Mojave County?
Oh, this time around in Mojave County, 19 years.
90 years. So, let's say your professional background, where did you start to practice law?
I started practicing law in 1994 after graduating from ASU. I spent a brief time behind occupied lines in California, decided I didn't care for that too much, and decided that I needed to do something a little more productive. So I went to law school. I had been the editor of a newspaper. Went to ASU Law School between 91 and 94, got out, came up here, worked for the Public Defender's Office, Legal Defender's Office actually, for 4 to 5 years. Went into private practice 1999 and have been in private practice ever since, mostly doing family law and criminal defense law.
So you have your offices in Kingman, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So pretty much also a lot of criminal laws. And today I would like to talk to you in a little bit about Arizona gun laws because, as I said, with freedom comes responsibility. And I always believe that law-abiding gun owners, they're mostly the most law-abiding citizens normally out there, because there's always the bad element in everything. But normally I saw that when people understand the responsibility that they have as a gun owners, they're always the most polite. They're always the people that were trying to avoid the confrontation. And I think it's our duty to know more than the average citizen when it comes down to legislation, so we do not create any type of unlawful act, in our communities. So, but first of all, do you like guns? I know that I saw you on Facebook. You're kind of a little bit gun freak like I am, I guess. What is your rifle of first choice?
Well, of course, like many of us probably in the listening audience, it gave me a little bit of the creeps to cross the California border because a lot of the guns I have are apparently no longer legal in this fine state, or maybe they are legal if you properly register them with the authorities and all that nonsense. But, of course, everybody likes AR-15s. I have several of those, HK-91, Kalashnikov variants, and various handguns, including Glocks and 1911s. I have enough guns to terrify most of the California legislature. Not that I would ever do that, but they're just terrified by the very idea that people would have such weapons. And, oh well, que sera, sera.
Eric, and I know probably already your answer, but I would like to ask. When I ask this to everybody, politicians or people that come here, what is for you, or what was the intention, the original intention of the Second Amendment? I mean, how do you legally give me your opinion, as a legal opinion, as an attorney?
The reason for the Second Amendment and the reason its standing is so high, just immediately behind the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights, is that the people who founded this country were very wise. They came back from an imperialist background where a king ran and operated everything, and the king had ultimate authority over everything in the country. And they set out to establish a limited government wherein if the government eventually became big, too obtrusive, and too much infringing upon the rights of the people would have the ultimate guarantee that they could overthrow the government if necessary. And, of course, everybody hopes that day will never come, but the purpose of the Second Amendment is to maintain that the people shall be armed and the government shall not infringe on the right of the people to be armed to, if necessary, protect themselves from the government.
Perfect. That's what I said because, I have a lot of friends or people that I know also through Facebook, and they assume, just because you have guns, you are a hunter. No, I'm not a hunter. My rifles, they're not for hunting. I have a good collection of rifle. Of course, at the end of the day, I have one rifle because I stick with one. But my idea of my rifle, I don't have rifles to hunt. I don't even have rifles to defend my house because I have better tools than that. Sometimes even a 2x4 can do a better job with my empty hands. The purpose of the rifle, as I said many times, is the extension of my soul to defend my freedom, my dignity as a free human being, and this country, this republic. So that's why the rifle, they say the handgun, you defend your persona, your person. Shotgun, you defend your castle. The rifle, defend your freedom. That's the way I look at this. That's why I own rifles. I do not own rifles and train to hunt. Please don't send me any invitation for the next hunt season because I don't even eat meat that much. But I train with rifles to defend freedom and what is left of this republic. So good, I like your answer. Perfect. You got this one, another beer on the way out. Okay, it's there. You got the second one, but you bring it home. I don't want you to drink too much. Okay. Now, talking about the Arizona Constitution, you know, people, we all talk about our Bill of Rights, Second Amendment. Great. But sometimes we forget in every state we have a different constitution. And it's very important, I think, because it's kind of almost... we don't put enough effort to learn about our Arizona Constitution. I read here in the Article 2nd, Section 26 of the Arizona Constitution guarantees the following. The right of the individual citizen to bear arms in defense of himself or the state shall not be impaired, but nothing in this section shall be construed, I hope I said right, as authorizing individuals or corporations to organize, maintain, or employ an armed body of men. Can you articulate on that, please, Attorney?
Well, certainly the idea is to prevent people from forming private armies. That's what the second part of that means. To some degree, the Arizona Constitution has a more expansive guarantee of rights than the federal Constitution does because it specifically articulates in the Arizona version of the bill concerning firearms rights that you have the right preserved to you to possess a firearm for purposes of defense of yourself and your family. So that goes beyond, in specificity, what is in the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution.
Perfect. So, yeah, people, we need to understand that you should always look into your state constitution. And Arizona, I think, according to the latest Guns and Ammo magazine, I guess, was some sort of graduatory, we are the number one in gun rights in 2012 or 2013. Are you aware of that?
The state of Arizona is?
Yes, state of Arizona, among all 50 states, according to Guns and Ammo magazine, was rated number one in gun rights. So
I'll take it.
Good. And I would like to say that to all the friends that are listening, you know, I put the show on YouTube and they're listening also from other areas from the internet. I remind you, if you leave, for example, I have a lady that I saw on Facebook and she's leaving, she's escaping from New Jersey, okay?
Oh.
And
Get out.
She's moving. She'll be here the next couple of 24 hours, I guess. And she's moving for many reasons. I think one of the reasons also because she doesn't want to be a slave every time to go back for a permit to defend herself, you know. I mean, she's a woman. She needs to have the right to defend herself. And I think that's great. So, please, we have a lot of land in Arizona. And I know I'm going to be making a lot of friends with the real estate agents. Come and move to Arizona. We got great land, great prices, a lot of freedom still. At least when it comes down to the Second Amendment. Now, let's talk about a little bit about more specific. You know, first of all, the anti-rights people, I call them, because it's not about anti-guns, anti-rights, they start to say, you know, a well-regulated militia shall be necessary for the security of the free state. And they focus very much on the word state, because, you know, they're statists, they love state, it's their god. So, militia, they think, oh, that must be the National Guard. I don't want to give the same answer. You articulate on that, please. I mean, we didn't have National Guard, you know that.
That's been a fictitious view that somebody formulated in order to try and be anti-firearms rights. Well, okay, the militia has to be the National Guard. The Supreme Court, and occasionally the Supreme Court gets things wrong, but in this point, at this particular juncture, they've got this right. The rights that are guaranteed to people under the Bill of Rights are individual rights. The founders did not write the Bill of Rights to secure the right of the National Guard to own firearms. The National Guard is a function of the government. The Bill of Rights is designed to protect and preserve the rights of the individual. Hence, the Second Amendment applies to the individual and not to the National Guard.
In fact, the second part of the Second Amendment, it says the right of the people. It doesn't say the right of the state, of the collectivist, you know. And that's fine, you know, guys. The point is, I give you the short story. If you believe that we supposed not to have individual right to get a gun, you can do whatever you want. You can scream, yell. You can also get your buyout, your legislator, and try to enforce or try to pass any laws that, in your mind, can deny my God-given right. I'm not a drama guy when it comes down to this, but I'm very serious, and I know it may sound kind of dramatic. I give you the final story of this story. if you want my guns, you need to literally, physically come and get it. Simple as that. And get them because, and I already said a few shows ago, I know we are facing now very serious global situation with this United Nations treaty. You ever heard about the Small Arms Treaty, United Nations?
Yes.
And you know the Kerry, former Senator Kerry signed it. Regardless, Senate was ratified. Wasn't ratified already?
I think it fell apart sometime in the last week, but I know Kerry was all about it. Yes.
And I would like to say this one more time, public. I hope NSA is writing it down and send it to the tyrant in chief at the White House. When it comes down to any type of unlawful, unconstitutional gun registration or gun confiscation, I will not hide my gun underground. I will keep carrying my guns on me like I do every day. I'm not a violent person. I'm not advocating any violence. But I'll tell you something. I didn't come all the way to America to be a slave of a global government, and I will not give up my guns till I am alive. And that's pretty much, does it say, everything. So that's the bottom line, you know. So, yeah, you can try to rewrite the Second Amendment as many times you want. Doesn't matter because it's not, the Bill of Rights doesn't give me rights. The rights come from God, if you believe in God, or is inalienable in us. So that's the way I look at this. Don't you think it's the same?
That's exactly it. The government does not grant you rights. That's not how the government works. You have rights. You were born with rights, and the Constitution is designed to make sure that those rights are enshrined so that the government knows they cannot infringe on those rights. That's the purpose.
Perfect, Eric. And just let me tell you something. You know, people sometimes, we have people that we know difference of opinion. That's great. You know, I am all for differences of opinion. But I always believe that when I have difference of opinion and they want to use the coercion, the strength, the force, the brutal force of the government to collect or to get things that do not belong to them. For example, even a right. You know, we're talking about gun rights, okay? People don't understand that this is not about being difference of opinion. This is about being just a coward that you hide behind the government to try to deny me of my personal rights and also the fruit of my labor, you know, because too many times we go around, we have people we disagree with, and that's fine. You know, we can disagree on everything. But the last thing I want to hear, somebody want to steal my tax dollar to, for example, let's say for abortion. Okay, you want to do abortion. I'm not even discussing now the morality of that or not. It's your whatever you want to do it. But why should I pay for it? You know, do your own dime. Let's start with that. You want to go abortion? We will talk about morality later. But first of all, why should I be forced to pay my tax dollar for something for your pills? Now, with new healthcare bill, I got my new healthcare bill from Humana, and I supposed to pay. Of course, my rates went up 300%, and abortion, pill prescriptions, contraceptive. I mean, why? This is the insanity thing, you know? Don't you think it's kind of strange?
Well, that's a little different. I mean, contraception is not the same thing as abortion. But
still, they're using my money. I mean, let's say, for example, I don't have sex. Why should I pay for somebody else's condoms?
Because the principle of insurance is designed to share the risk over a vast pool of people. Not necessarily all these people are going to be participating in the same things. That's like saying, I shouldn't have to pay increased health insurance coverage for fat people. People who are vastly overweight did that to themselves. Mm-hmm. Why should I have to pay for them? I shouldn't have to pay increased insurance premiums for people that smoke. They chose to do that. That's a bad thing for them. It's going to make them ill. Why should I have to pay for that? And the principle of insurance is you can't opt out for paying for those people because you're collectivizing the entire risk over the whole population.
Eric, but before, in my former insurance contract that I had, I didn't have to pay for these things, okay? I mean, I was never being served with the extra bill like I have now to pay for extra things that they just fall under Obamacare. That's my point. That's why I used to pay $150 before, and now it's more than $400. You know?
Some people are saving money. Some people are spending a lot more money. There's no
I know
question
that
about it.
we've been ripped, but regardless, that's the bottom line. So all I would like to say, I like to disagree on everything. I have no problem. But when you want to use the force of the government to steal, I call robbery, from other people, labors or mind, fruit of their mind, whatever. You are just a coward, in my opinion, because it is not about being different or have difference of opinion. You want to pretty much use the government to rob somebody else. In this case, also the rights. You don't like my guns, that's fine. I never said that you need to buy or you must buy a gun. But please, don't deny me that right. Anyway, let's talk a little bit keep going about things. First of all, why did you want to become a lawyer? I mean, well, you're a musician. You're kind of a hot musician. I see you around. You like rock. What do you play first of all? Music, bass, guitar?
Bass, guitar. I can beat the drums a little bit too.
You have a band right now?
Not at the moment.
You just jam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was your last concert you had? Some bar or something?
The last time we played anywhere was at the Halloween Hunger Ball, or I think that's what Hunger Bash. That's what it was called. And it was in a parking lot in Kingman.
Okay. So you play around, and out of the blue, you wanted to become a lawyer.
Well, one of the things I think I'm pretty good at, among other things, but probably the best at, is arguing. So I started thinking, how can I put this to use so that I could actually make a living doing it?
Okay.
And when I was working in journalism behind occupied lines in Rockland, California, I wasn't making enough, even though I was the editor of the newspaper. I wasn't making enough to even live in my own place. I had to rent a room from someone.
Wow.
And I had discussions with the publisher and realized I was at the top of my earnings curve and said, I need to do something which better employs my talents and gives me something I can live on. So
Okay.
I went to law school.
Okay, good. Now, let's talk about a little bit about Arizona gun laws, okay? Because I hope everybody's... First of all, little disclaimer. I am not a lawyer, even I was a dropout at law school in Italy, but I'm not a lawyer. He is the lawyer. But in this show, all we try to do, have a conversation, is a sharing opinion, and we're not trying to give any legal advice. If you need a legal advice, professional legal advice, you can always go find Eric. He has a website. Eric, can you give please your website?
Enganlaw.net.
Okay, there is his email there. You can find him on Facebook. You can hire him. And please, this is just some sort of information that we share with you. So don't take this as a legal advice. But let's start now with some important things. First of all, let's talk about... Everybody has been talking the last few years about this stand your ground law. The situation with Florida, Trayvon Martin. Sometimes I think there's a lot of misinformation there. But give me your legal opinion about exactly how does it work, stand your ground law.
Well, sometimes in statutes that justify use of legal force, they give you options that you have to exercise before you can actually employ legal force. If someone is approaching you, threatening you with deadly force, before you can use deadly force to counter their deadly force, you need to retreat if you can. And, of course, that winds up being sorted out by a prosecutor and a defense lawyer and a jury if things go the wrong way. But ultimately, stand your ground means that it removed the obligation of the person defending himself to have to retreat from the threat that's approaching with the legal force. So if you can say, well, yes, I used lethal force against this person. Here's why. I felt that person threatened me, and I have these reasons. And if a prosecutor and or a jury believes you, then that's a justifiable reason to use the lethal force.
I know that in California, because I'm a refugee from California, I left about 9 years ago almost, doesn't exist this. For example, you always have the first thing is to retreat, or at least your duty is to retreat. Only if you are facing the wall, that means you can't run anymore, then only then you may try to defend yourself, and of course you may well pay the consequences civilly, because they can also sue you. I heard that. Is it true?
I don't really know what California does. I've stopped trying to keep track of all the California laws. I don't live in this state, fortunately. Like I said, it kind of gives me the creeps to come over here, even though I do from time to time. But generally here, if you have a firearm, you're in trouble. Just go with that presumption and you'll be fine. You can't wear one in public. You can't transport one in your car if it's loaded. You have to have it stowed in a trunk in a locked box with the ammunition separate. There's just too many things in this state, California, to keep track of to make it worthwhile. And you can run into great legal hazards if you don't pay attention to those things.
Good. Let's talk about something that I'm very proud to live in Arizona. It's called the constitutional carry, because I really believe the gun for me is not something to harm or to do violence. It's something to defend peace, to defend the innocent, and to defend freedom, of course. But more important is a philosophical act, like the Romans, for example. All the citizens, they were allowed to have weapons. And unfortunately, when you are conquered, like, for example, if you look at Julius Caesar, when they conquer Gauls, okay, the actual France, what happened, there is a painting you can see, Caesar sitting down on his throne, like, badass that he was, and all the poor Gauls, I feel sorry for them, they lost the war, and they were surrendering. What you see in that painting, they were giving their swords, their weapons, because slaves are never armed. So for me, to have a gun, I carry a gun every day. Of course, now we will talk exactly where I cannot carry a gun, besides in this part of the world, California. But I carry a gun everywhere I can lawfully in Arizona, not because I'm afraid or something, or I need to shoot somebody. No, because I'm a free man. Even, of course, we will talk about that. We know we're not really free, but the idea that I still have some freedoms. And that's, for me, the most important condition. When I moved to America, when I learned about the Bill of Rights, and I learned about the state of Arizona since I was a child, I wanted to be in Arizona because I know free men, they're never disarmed. That's the bottom line. And of course, if you have no guns, don't start to get mad at me. You're not a slave. It's your choice, at least, okay? So, constitutional carry. Tell me about that.
Say it again.
What is this constitutional carry that we have right now, the last few years?
Up until, I believe it was 1996, it was illegal for anyone to carry a concealed weapon unless they were a law enforcement officer or had some other special exemption generally associated with the government. In 1996, the legislation changed so that you could carry a concealed weapon, provided you went through I think it was 16-hour training class. It included some range time, including qualification by being able to hit a target within a certain amount of time at a certain distance. And that became the law. If you went through all those requirements and did those things, and you had a clean criminal history and you gave them a fingerprint card, you could get a concealed carry license, and you could then be authorized to carry a weapon discreetly on you that's not obvious to the public, most places where you chose to go. In 2010, after 14 years of this, the legislature decided that that was kind of an impediment to the free carry. You have the constitutional right to carry a firearm already without having to take a class, without having to jump through a permit process and turn in your fingerprints. So now you can discreetly carry a firearm without having to get a permit and without having to go to a class. It's still a good idea, certainly, to take a class. If you don't know anything about firearms, you can get in a lot of trouble with one really quickly. So it's best to know from someone who's qualified to teach you how to carry your firearm, how to maintain it, and specifically how to deploy it, or most importantly, not to deploy it. Keep it concealed unless you absolutely need it because someone is threatening you or yours with deadly force. But constitutional carry, in short, means that the restrictions on you carrying by getting the permit are now gone, and you can carry the firearm in most circumstances where and when you want.
Perfect. And I really like the idea because, I always say, once you have freedom, you must be even more responsible. And I always, I don't even want to use the word advice because I'm not here to advise anybody, but I always suggest my friendly opinion, try to find a school or find a class or find some friend that really can train you because it's so important. Right now, when you have a gun in your hands, that's not a toy, you know that. And it's so important that you know, and there is never enough to know because I go to school, for example, I go to Front Sight, Nevada. I train there. I am a life member, an ambassador. I distinguish most of the classes, and I still say I don't know enough. So, and I always open mind to go out and learn from others, because I understand that this is not a game; it's a serious responsibility, and not just the shooting itself. You need to know if ever I have to use it. I hope never is going to happen. I never had to do that. But if, what is also the ramifications? Because there is so much the after shooting that happens. So. It's not like the movies, okay? The movie, you can always do replay. This is life. And morally, ethically, you understand that it's something you need to live the rest of your life. That's why I always say, before you get a gun, take some time to understand, are you able, in your mind, to visualize a moment that you need to stop? I don't even want to kill. I say I want to stop the threat, and eventually may die, to defend an innocent, to defend some life. Because some people, morally, they can't do that. And at that point, I said, don't even buy a gun. If you cannot use it, all you're going to do, you're going to give an extra gun to the bad guys, So it's not just black and white. I think it starts from your brain and your heart, and then you go, of course, the practical things. What is your handgun, your favorite handgun you like to carry? If you want to say, you don't have to disclose.
It depends from week to week.
Good, I like the answer.
Glock 36, Springfield Armory XDS 45 ACP. When I'm really carrying a deep gun, a very small, discreet gun, it would be a Kel-Tec 380.
Okay. So. I like guns in general, and I like to see them all on the wall. I'm kind of a visual guy. But at the end of the day, in my training, what I learn, I like to stick with one because I'm so muscle memory then, So my favorite gun is Glock platform, and I have them all the calibers. mostly I like to between 9 and 40 because it's pretty lighter and compared to the 45. But as I said, whatever you have, guys, stick with that. And you are the weapon. The guns is just an extension of your arm. And by school, I like them. I like to see them all, honestly. Normally, I'm so mad. Olivia, I love this show, and it's great. And I thanks a lot, K-Talks, to give me the opportunity. One thing only I wish, if they move the studio on the other side of the river, I would bring here everything you can imagine, okay? We do a display before we do the show, but that's okay.
I think you brought a Garand here once.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing in the state that you can bring in here.
And Mosina Nagant I was going to, okay? And when I really want to go heavy, I bring a 1911 without ammo, of course.
Of course.
And no hollow points. Anyway, so good. Listen, this is great because you are right now on the air with Eric Engan. He's a great attorney and also is a patriot. He's a freedom lover. And I say this not lightly because I follow him on Facebook. I may not agree with him everything, but I know we agree on freedom, we agree on the Bill of Rights, and we like guns. So it's great. And we like beer too. I can't drink, unfortunately. Now, before we continue the show, I would like to share with you guys and with Eric one of my songs of the LP CDs, Love, Guns, and Freedom. And I know, Eric, for what I see, what I hear on Facebook, you like rock, you like little punk rock, and you look like kind of a punk rock attorney. So I need to get this song that it is not pure punk rock, but, that's the type of vibe. And it's called, I'm sad that I can say these words on the air, God Damn the Queen, okay? Music and lyrics by Luca Zanna. Let's see if I get it right. Here we go.
God damn the Queen. God damn the Queen. The king. 1776, we sent you a message. We are free. No more rulers, no more kings. God damn the Queen. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Sam Adams, and all of them. Our founding fathers gave their blood, so we had no more queens, no more lords. God damn the Queen. God damn the Queen. God damn the Queen. God damn the Queen. Don't forget the king. We are Americans, no more rulers. Just screw you, bitch, and your new world order. You may own the land and own the bank, but we'll never kiss your rear end. Your scam has been exposed. Our bondage now is over. We know who owns the fed. We have guts, pride, and land. God damn the Queen. 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 Don't forget the king. God damn the guts, pride, and land. God damn the guts, pride, and land.
All right, that was God Damn the Queen, music and lyrics by myself, Gianluca Zanna, and it's available pretty soon. It's already available on iTunes and Amazon, but the whole CD is going to be available next week or so all over the world on Amazon, iTunes, also on my website, lovegunsfreedom.com for just $10 or $9.99. And I have selected shops in Fort Mojave, Bullhead, and Mojave County that will carry my CD. So I will post them on my website. Just to let you know, you can also download the song for just 99 cents. And I say that because we here, we do not steal your money. We ask for politely, okay? We believe in free market. Anyway, so back with Eric Engan, attorney from Kingman. We're having a nice conversation about gun laws, and we're talking about the constitutional carry. We were talking about everything. So let's go back to the Arizona gun laws. Eric, first of all, do you like this song? You better say yes, otherwise no more beer.
I love that song. And, I remember hearing the GD word all the way back when I was a kid with Steppenwolf. Remember that song, The Pusher?
Uh-huh.
So back then I learned you could actually say that on the air. So you're in the same vein on that.
Listen, I'm not for cussing, but sometimes I always believe that is an expression of your soul. And you can sometimes say many words, but one right word at the right time, it gets the emotion out, And that's what my opinion is about the Queen of England, any other king or lords, because that's why I wanted to become to America, because I refuse to bow down to any other man. That's the idea. Unfortunately, in Italy, even we don't have any more monarchy, just to give you an idea why it's so important, the freedom of speech. If you go to the penal code, okay, if I say the Italian president is, I don't know, say one bad word we can say on the air.
A rat fink.
Oh, good. That's 5 years. 5 years in jail can become for violation of Article 287. Offense to the Republic President of the Republic. You understand that?
Well, I know that girl that was charged with murder over there said, oh, the cops framed me. And they said, now we're going to charge you with another offense. You've slandered our police. And
Exactly.
they charge her with a new offense.
So that's the point. And Americans, regardless of what you believe, left, right, center, it's just a joke for me. I believe in freedom. The bottom line is why we had to fight for our rights. This is the only place in the world. I've been traveling all over the world before I came here. And even with all the imperfections and things, it's up to us to make it better. Never in the world I found a place that you can still be having these natural rights, that you have a freedom of speech, that we have a Bill of Rights, or we had the Bill of Rights, and we let it go. That's why I'm so mad. I can't sleep at night, seriously. I have a problem. Like today is a day that I know for many Americans, and some they deserve it, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be completely negative. It's a Super Bowl. That's great.
Go Seahawks.
Yeah, good. I don't even know what it is. My point is, before you go to see a Super Bowl, don't you forget that we are living right now like the last days of the Republic. National Defense Authorization Act. One word for me says it all. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrats, or Libertarian. We should all pretty much freak out. You know what is a National Defense Authorization Act? You heard about that?
It's been around a while, but it's been recently changed and co-opted to infringe more on our freedoms under the guise of fighting terrorism.
Mm-hmm. And, I always say in 3 words, this is before we're going to bringing us back before pre-Magna Carta. The king with the Magna Carta, correct me if I'm wrong, this is something you know better than me, finally, he had to prove there was an habeas corpus, there was the body of the crime. He has to have a reason to incarcerate you. And then you must have a trial, a due process. Now, all the government has to do is say, they have to say, I suspect, and I repeat the word suspect, that you are a terrorist. And at that point, you can be taken right away in a dungeon, no access to judge, jury, or any type of due process, and indefinitely detention. And now they also can use the military, because with the National Defense Authorization Act, now we are the battlefield. America soil can be declared battlefield. So this is for me like I relive what happened in my family in World War II. I wasn't there, of course, but I heard stories. It didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process of creeping in or creeping out, and that's exactly the way it's happening right now, guys. So, I'm sorry. Today, as much as I love, entertaining, I can feel like, especially after what happened last week with the State of the Union his speech. Do you hear about the Mr. Obama, his State of the Union speech?
I listened to part of it.
He said that, give you a short story, pretty much now he's king. He doesn't need Congress anymore. Did you hear that part?
Well, he didn't exactly say that, but he did say,
tell me.
I'm going to try and get things that I think are appropriate.
Okay.
And if there's a way to get that by going around the legislative process, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So,
last time I checked, when I studied my constitution classes to become a citizen, we have 3 branches, and the executive is supposed not to make laws. I'm not saying, even Bush used to do. I don't care about Bush. I didn't like Bush either.
Yeah.
So it's not about, let's do more wrong just because somebody else was doing wrong, Yeah. So I'm very concerned. But at the same time, I know it's Super Bowl and whatever, if you like that. Now, let's keep going with our Arizona gun laws, okay? And by the way, you're welcome to stay the second hour, please, because I know we have a guest from Michigan calling in, but you can interact. We can interact all together. First of all, why you think, since now we have a constitutional carry, it's kind of a great right to carry a gun without permit from the government, why you think somebody should still maybe think about the option to eventually apply for a concealed weapon of Arizona?
Well, I've had my concealed carry permit since they implemented the program in 1996, and I continued renewing it even after they did away with the use of it or need for it, because one of the things you have is you have reciprocity with other states, and I can't name the other states off the top of my head, but there's a few states that have reciprocity with Arizona for concealed weapons laws. So if you have a permit here, you can carry your weapon in the other state under the same type of scenarios. And then the main reason I kept it is because if you go buy a firearm from a licensed dealer, you don't have to go through the national instant check system. You can just show them your card, and that shows you've already been cleared by our authorities, and you're free to purchase your firearm on the spot without the instant check.
I like that, and that's why I have the same. I kept mine, and also there are also other states like Utah. I like that. It's kind of easy to get it. So, by the way, doing your research, guys. If that works for you, I understand. I don't like the idea of permit. It's against my principle. But in this situation, since we already have our right pretty well established with a constitutional carry, that will give you some extra advantage. For example, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a lawyer. If you go, for example, in a restaurant where alcohol is served, you cannot drink, of course, when you carry a gun. But at this point, you don't need to leave it anymore into your car like we used to do before, but you can conceal it on you with a CCW, correct?
Exactly. Just don't drink the alcohol. And one note on reciprocity, since we're in the so-called tri-state area, you don't have reciprocity with Nevada, and you certainly do not have reciprocity with the great golden state of California.
Maybe with a slingshot. I think you can go with a slingshot.
Oh, don't say that or they'll ban that too.
Okay. So anyway, so that's good, guys, because, try to learn. There is also a book that I'm not even getting paid. I need to ask him for a sponsor. I hope they can give me a couple of dollars. It's called Arizona Gun Owner's Guide. I really like this book by Alan Corwin. It's a great book. I bought it the first day I moved to Arizona. When I went to the shop, I bought my first Arizona gun. That was the book I bought off the shelf. Because it's our duty, as I said, to be responsible gun owners and set the example that we are law-abiding citizens and we are better than the average citizen because we have a lot of responsibility on us. So that's my goal. Anyway, and I need to ask Corwin. He's a great guy. I met him one time in Phoenix. Anyway, so guys, let's start to talk about now things more specific, How and when you can use, as a general rule, lethal force according to the Arizona laws. For example, I heard stories, don't get me wrong, in Texas it's different. You can defend property. Correct me if I'm wrong, but of course, you're not a Texas attorney. But let's talk about Arizona. Can you use lethal force specific case? Let's say somebody is stealing my car. Hey, the car is running. I don't want to give the answer because you please go ahead.
First of all, one of the things you want to know about lethal force and the employment of it, avoid it. It's a very bad idea if you can avoid using it to not avoid it. So try and stay out of situations where you would be put into a situation where you would have to use lethal force. Even if you're completely right, you can expect a lot of uncomfortable questioning from the police, a lot of expensive attorneys. You might go to jail, and you could be civilly sued. So the first and best thing about using lethal force is don't use lethal force. Avoid the situation that would lead to it. That said, if someone's stealing your car and whether or not you can use lethal force, this is an off the top of my head opinion. If the person is fleeing and has already committed the crime, you probably are not justified in using lethal force. And you certainly don't want that scenario in front of a prosecutor who will be glad to point the finger at the guy with the gun who was just itching for the opportunity to draw it and pull the trigger on some hapless guy that happened to be stealing your car.
Exactly. We still have a few seconds before we go. Anyway, we're preparing for the second hour. And that's exactly what I learned in my classes, reading the book. You can use, first of all, you need to avoid. The idea is to always, one of the first weapons we have, awareness. The color of awareness of Jeff Cooper, that's vital. If you don't know what it is, just Google it, or we'll talk maybe in the second hour. Because the first weapon is to be aware and avoid the problem. So we don't need to use violence. We are peaceful people, you know. And another important thing I always say, at the end of the day, does really make sense? Can you articulate? I mean, the only thing I articulate for me, if I had to use violence, if I had to save a life, and I have no other resource to save my life, only then, at the end of the day, property can be bought. You can replace a car. You can find it again, you know? So let's just don't think this is the Wild West, like they try to make us look like in some New York mayor's offices, you know? We are good people, right?
If the guy's leaving with your car and you shoot him, you will go to jail. Let me just put it that way.
All right. Okay, listen, we're going to the hour number 2, and we should have the guests coming in. Hopefully they didn't have any personal problem today. Mark Corky, if you're there from Michigan, start to call in. Meanwhile, we will continue our conversation. You are listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca, Zanna, and Eric Engan. Ciao. All right, our number 2, Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna and attorney Eric Engan. Okay, today we're talking about Arizona gun laws and try to give you some opinion. This is no legal advice. If you need a lawyer, call Eric directly. You can go to his website. Please, Eric, give me your website again.
Enganlaw.net.
Okay, so you can ask him a real consultation. This is some sort of a semi-serious conversation, okay? But still, a lot of good information. So we were talking about when and how to display a gun, you know, I mean, use a gun for deadly force. And this is a very serious matter, you know. I think almost over the radio it's almost not enough. But the bottom line, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, just to recap, try to avoid is always the best weapon. And I see somebody's calling here. Let's see, 1 second, yeah? 1 second.
Got too many phones over there.
Many phones. Okay. Somebody was calling, but let's see. Maybe I got him. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Please hang up. Try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
Okay.
Please hang up and try again.
Okay. Somebody was trying to call. We'll find out. Anyway, we were talking about deadly force. Try always to avoid. That's the best weapon. To be alert. To be aware. And then, of course, the only justification would be to save a life, to be fearing for your life, correct?
Fearing for your life or severe physical injury. One of the things you have to look out for, some people, mainly, you know, if they're in their 20s and they're kind of, you know, loudmouth punks and they're used to flipping people off and yelling at people that irritate them. And if you're carrying a firearm, you have to go under a completely different code of conduct because you don't want things to escalate. Things that, you know, think that you could settle by yelling at the other person or even punching the other person or they punch you, and it's all just part of being a punk kid with a big mouth. Those are things you cannot do if you're carrying a firearm. Your job is to de-escalate and retreat, so do it.
Exactly. Not because you think now we have the stand your ground law. It means you need to definitely go into a confrontation. Your goal is always to avoid violence, you know. So that's very important because at the end of the day, of course, you're going to be judged eventually by a jury and also by your consciousness because you got to live the rest of your life, whatever decision you make. I think that's very important too, I believe. Now, question, talking about, let's say, I know there are different scenarios and different situations, but where can you shoot a gun if you're in Arizona? Let's say, you know, I'm just moving from out of state. I got my gun, and I think I'm now a law-abiding citizen with a gun, and I want to go shoot. And but there are rules, you know, especially if you live in cities or municipalities and close to homes. You know, you're aware of those type of basic rules that we're talking about?
Generally, be a quarter mile away from a house or a vehicle with another person in it. Of course, you can be near your vehicle, but if there's other people around, you stay away from them. You have to be a quarter mile away from them. And there's a lot of state land in Arizona, so you're free to go on state land. Of course, don't leave any mess. Don't leave any trace that you were there. But you're safe to shoot in pretty much most places that are state land and that are away from buildings and vehicles.
And, you know, I always want to remind you, probably you already know that, but it's always good to remind that whenever you shoot, we are accountable for every round, and there is no way to take it back. You know, the round goes out, and what if you miss the target? what's behind, because sometimes you go in this big beautiful state land that we have and we're allowed to shoot there, but do you have a backstop? I mean, that's the bottom line. Do we need to know exactly what's behind that brush, what's behind that little backstop in case you miss it, you know? Because that's something kind of I always say, you know, I like to shoot even in the desert. I have some land, I use shoot on my own land, I have my personal range, but also I like to go to the range, especially when I go to high power rifle. I like to shoot 50 cal. And I like to go to the range. Like, for example, we have a beautiful range at Mojave Sportsman Club, the Route 66. Have you been there?
Absolutely. I'm a member.
Good. I'm a member too. Excellent. Yeah. So, and yeah, I like to go there because I know I have all this safety in action. And I know that if I miss the target, behind is going to be some sort of a protection. You know, it's not going to be. We should go shoot together one time. We like to go pistol. Let's do
Absolutely.
it. I know today is a special day for you, so I don't want to be harsh. And, you know, you got football normally. You're a football guy, right? I mean,
I'm a football guy, although I understand a little bit of the bread and circuses logic. It's like everyone watch football while the government runs amok, you know?
Yeah, and, you know, that's fine. Listen to me. Don't get me wrong. I think we deserve a break. We deserve some moment of entertainment. Otherwise, we go crazy. And for me, I'm just not a football guy. I don't even like soccer, so I'm kind of a different breed, you know. Since I was a kid, I was a misfit in that area. But regardless, all I'm saying, this is not for people that they are aware and they fight every day for our rights. I'm talking about the regular average zombie that's all he knows is football and he puts all his effort into that. I wish for a moment, as a fellow American, if you put one little second of your effort that you go to the stadium or you watch your game and you prepare your team, whatever, to know your congressman, to know your city councilman, to know exactly what's happening to this country. That's what really breaks my heart, you know, because I realized the plan. It's called, like in ancient Rome, you know, bread and game, you know. They used to give you free bread during the Colosseum arena shows. It's like welfare, pretty much. And they give you free game. And then people are completely oblivious of what's going on to their freedom, to their rights. You know, that's what breaks my heart. So we got to go to the range together. So we can do pistol if you want. And you can show me what you know. I'll show you what I know, and we have fun. And I would like also to remind everybody listening to this show that one of the things I like to share my wealth, like as somebody in the White House says, is not about money, because I believe knowledge is more important than money sometimes. I'm not an instructor. I'm not a professor. But somebody invests a lot of time and energy in trying to learn from different sources. So I like to go shoot with friends or people that I maybe don't know, but they want to learn. And we are fellow, you know, residents of Mojave County or Americans, and we can get together at the range. I get my couple hours there, and I tell you what I know as a friend, not as an instructor, and you can show me what you know, and we have fun. So you can email me. You can go to my personal website, Zanna, ZANNA.us. Shoot me an email. Normally, I like to go to the range in the afternoon after the show. That's my time. So much that today, I know a couple of friends, they're listening. I may go to have a little fun on my personal range, and you're welcome to come. We will do pistol today, okay? Because I'm in the mood for pistol. And that's it, guys. So the idea is, you know, we need to help each other to share and learn our rights and our responsibility. Now, where you can carry a gun, where can you not carry a gun? As a general rule, we said about close to homes and property. But when it comes down, for example, to, I call almost the magic place, federal buildings. Even the post office, that, you know, it's not really federal, but it's private, but it's federalized. We have no more rights there. I mean, our Bill of Rights ends at the gates of the federal property. Is it funny that?
Remember about 20 years ago when the phrase going postal became like kind of a buzzword, because there had to be people that were postal employees, and they'd pull guns and they'd shoot people in the post office. Mm-hmm. So the post office's solution, quote unquote, to this is to make it a gun-free zone. Although, to be fair, it probably was a gun-free zone ever since the inception of the post office. But all those gun-free zones do. I mean, it is a law in the post office, and if it's posted in a business, of course, you have to abide by that. It's their business. They control the premises. But by creating these gun-free zones, the only people you deter from carrying a gun are those who read the signs and obey them. So someone who's intent on going in and committing crimes, of course, is going to ignore the sign. But you're not supposed to carry a gun into the post office. It's very bad form to do that and can get you arrested.
Exactly. And, you know, I remember I sent a letter to the office. Oh, let's see. No, I need to get this one. Okay, 1 second. Here we go. On air. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here. Are you there?
I'm here. I made it. Sorry, I'm kind of not a tech guy, and
Yeah, no, I'm the other guy in the other room, just calling in on your show.
Okay. So, it's
Yeah,
you.
I got a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
We're talking about having guns on federal land, and a question that comes up often on my program that I really have never been diligent about getting an answer to, that comes to me from people that live on land that is actually tribal land, but say that it's a home they bought on tribal land. They can't have guns at their house. Apparently, is that true?
I don't know enough about that to say. I do know that tribal land is sovereign land.
Right.
Most of our laws and whatnot do not apply on there. Indian laws apply. Proceed with extreme caution, because a lot of things you will do as a non-tribal member may be illegal in the eyes of the tribe. So proceed with extreme caution.
Right. So people who live around here, like there are certain properties that are tribal land, like Smith's on the corner of Aztec and Highway 95 is actually tribal land. So if you go there with your weapon thinking that, hey, I'm just at Smith's with my weapon, you may be in violation of tribal law.
I don't know enough about that to say. That's a theory, but I don't know. I don't know. It's probably not a good idea. If you know it's on tribal land, I would make sure I was very discreet about what I did on tribal land.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd throw a monkey wrench or a weird question in that, it's probably one of those just difficult to answer ones.
Throw an easy to answer one out.
What happens when you get pulled over? Should you cooperate and let people search your car?
Absolutely not. Why would you do that? If you
I don't have anything to hide. I don't have anything. I don't have any drugs or anything to hide. Why wouldn't I consent to a search?
Everybody's probably heard the old adage about if you have rights, exercise them. It's like using a body part. If you want your biceps to, be around when you're an old man, use your biceps. And much like your rights, if you don't have anything to hide, that's fine. Maybe you don't have anything to hide. But when in doubt and the police contact you, it's never a bad thing to say, no, you can't search my car. May it be on my way, please. If they have no reason to be in your car, they shouldn't be in your car. It's your private property.
But see, I kind of feel like if I said that to them, they'd think I had something in the car, and then they would really give me a hard time and make me sit there for an hour and a half while they go through my car, and all the cars are driving by looking at me like, oh, look, there's Dave. He got pulled over. Oh, finally got him busted.
Well, they can't go through your car unless they have probable cause, and they can't detain you on the side of the road for more than what's a reasonable period, which is subject of court opinions as to what is a reasonable period or not. Usually what you wind up with is if they really think there's something in your car and they really want to get in your car, they can't get in it. But they can detain you for a 20-minute period or so. 20 minutes is off the top of my head. A reasonably short period of time while they get a dog, and the dog goes around your car and they see if the dog will alert on your car.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Thanks for all the free marginal legal advice.
This isn't legal advice. This is an entertainment show.
Okay.
So I'm on here to answer some informal questions. If you have need for legal advice, contact an attorney.
Take care, man. Bye.
Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you, Dave. Thank you. Okay, guys. Yeah, this is very important because Fourth Amendment, now we know very well that according to the Patriot Act, it's pretty much gone. In their book, they can come and snoop. Oh, we know they call here. Let's see. Maybe now I'm getting it right.
Maybe you'll press the right button this time.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. Caller, are you there? I did it right. They left too early. Anyway, so the point, exercise your rights. Use them or lose them, like the muscle, as you were saying. Now, talking about rights, specifically with a gun. If a cop pull me over, okay, and for a traffic violation or whatever, I'm driving my car, should I tell him, officer, I have a gun? What should I do?
I wouldn't tell him that. If he does ask you if you have a firearm, it's your legal obligation to tell him the correct answer to that, or else you can be charged with a crime for not giving him the correct answer. So generally, if you have a firearm in your car, out of sight, out of mind, if the officer doesn't ask me, I'm certainly not going to tell him. Give me my ticket and let me be on my way. If, on the other hand, he says, do you have a firearm in this car? I'd say, yes, I do have a firearm in this car, which is a safe thing to say if you're not breaking any laws. Of course, once again, the huge disclaimer, California, Don't even go there. This is all Arizona based. What I'm saying.
Yes, good for a reminder. Thank you, because we are broadcasting from Needles, California. So just don't get confused. We are guests here. Okay, we're going to go back home pretty soon after the show. Anyway, but it's very important, because I remember I was pulled 3 years ago by DPS. They were the best officer I ever seen. Seriously, pulled me over. I was with my ex-wife at the time, and I said, "Mr. Zanna, I said, how are you?" I wasn't driving, but my ex was driving. Can we please just check, because she did something irregular, so it was fair, And anyway, bottom line, I say, I know you have guns. Probably they can read it through the license plate and CCW. Let me get this 1 second. Caller, are you there? Hello?
Is this K-Talks?
K-Talks, 1340 a.m. This is Luca Zanna with Eric Engan on Love, Guns, and Freedom. Who are you?
Hello, Luca. I was hoping that it would. I've been hearing the trouble that you're having, that nobody's there when you. So I just thought I'd break whatever the curse was and call in. But I do have a question. I'm a little confused with the answer. If you're stopped by an officer, and the part where I heard you talk about they could call and have a dog come and search your car. I don't. The dog is still considered an officer, so I need to get unconfused about why it's okay for the dog to search the car.
We have Eric.
Maybe I missed something.
Go ahead, Eric. Give him, please, help her out.
The dog does not get in your car unless you give it permission or give the officer permission to let the dog in your car. The dog will circle your vehicle and sniff it. And if the dog alerts, that gives the officer what's called probable cause to do a further search on your vehicle. But they can't get in your car without probable cause. They use the dog to try and establish probable cause. If the dog alerts, that gives them probable cause.
I get it now. Thanks for straightening that out. I didn't really hear all of that, but thank you, and I'm enjoying the show.
Thank you. Where are you calling from? Caller, don't go away.
Oh, I'm calling from Fort Mojave.
Okay. And what's your name?
I called in all the other times, but I haven't called in while you're on the air yet, Luca.
I'm glad. Okay.
And I am too. Thank you. Everyone have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Good job. Good point. Good point about the dog. I always interested about this information too. Now, coming back to my little experience, when I got pulled over, because I was riding side, the police, the officer, DPS, technically it was a DPS, already knew that we were carrying guns. Do you think they can check it out through the CCW? It's connected to the license plate with the new 1984 connection, probably?
Probably, but I don't know that.
Anyway, the guy was cool. I tell you, it was very nice. I really respect that. First of all, there was a reason to pull us over. And they didn't give us a ticket. They gave us a warning. I was really pretty impressed.
You mean you were speeding?
No. I don't speed. Listen, in 16 years in this country, I don't even have one speeding ticket. When I came to America, I left Italy behind. I was a terrible driver. In Italy, in Rome, they're still looking for me probably for $3,000 fine. I came here, I was reborn as the most boring, law-abiding citizen you can get. I don't have a speeding ticket. I don't have any type of speeding, any type of infraction with anything. I'm so boring, on the car at least. And everything else too, of course. But my point is, wasn't me driving. And the officer was very nice, give us a warning. And on top, he said, I know you're having guns on you, but don't worry, it's fine. Wow, I thought it was a setup. And so much they say, you can keep it on you. Normally, I would take it. I know that they have this sort of SOP, procedure that they can take your gun momentarily while they interact with you, is correct?
Exactly.
So it's nothing wrong, not because they're getting your gun means that it is part of the system.
Officer safety.
Yes. Okay, so I was pretty impressed. The guy was very cool, and he said, everything's fine, have a good day. It was good interaction. I thought it was a setup. And by the way, just to let you know, let's remind to the people in Arizona that it's legal to record a conversation when there is a condition. Because in California, you can't. Like, for example, me and you, we are talking here, and I'm aware, you are not aware, both parties, we must be aware, correct?
That's correct.
That's California.
Yes.
But Arizona, give me the rest of the story.
One party must be aware of the conversation in Arizona.
So would you suggest or would you think that I like when everything is recorded because, let's say if I interact with a policeman or anybody that could be some sort of a law enforcement, that's the real truth. It's what is recorded. So would you suggest when there is an interaction with a policeman or you record?
Well, that's one of those things where the policeman's going to go, what the heck are you doing? So it's probably a good idea from your perspective. It's probably also going to turn up the interaction with the police officer a notch. If you can do it, I suppose that's a good thing to do. But normally, most people that are law-abiding have encounters with police officers. The officer writes them a ticket or writes them a warning, and they're on their way. There's no real issues that are going to be later resolved by the recording as to whether or not the officer actually said this or you said that. So you can record them if you choose to do that. They may take offense to that, but there's nothing wrong with doing that.
It's still legal. It's a public figure in a public place, and
there's some places, some jurisdictions that have specifically made it a law that you can't video or record an officer.
Like,
but,
okay, in Arizona too?
I don't think that's a law in Arizona,
Yeah.
no.
No, because
so probably one of them back east Empire states,
Good, because, I always believe that the first weapon is a video camera. Of course, gun follows immediately, but a good video camera with you, it's always something that can give you the advantage to defer some sort of abuse of power or something that could be wrong, because people would behave a little better when they've been recorded. That's my personal thing, most of the time. And of course, they can also smash your camera, but that's another story, okay? Now, let's talk about something else, connected always to the gun laws, and, there's a lot of talk around here about this legalization of marijuana. They do call it medical marijuana. I don't even smoke. I couldn't stand it, but I'm very passionate about this because I believe if the government, using the collectivist of the public opinion, all they need to do is brainwash the majority of people. They can pretty much decide what you're allowed to eat, smoke, or drink. And that's driving me insane because, I don't smoke marijuana, but at the same time I say somebody has the right to drink a beer or get intoxicated with a bottle of wine or whatever they want to do on their dime in the privacy of their place, not infringing on anybody else's rights, and being safe. You should be allowed to smoke whatever you want till you pay with your money and you don't infringe me. You don't need to agree with me, but what is your position about that? What do you think about it?
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let's face it. We've all known people that have smoked marijuana probably since high school. And I think marijuana, looking at it just from what I see of people that use it, it's a lot like alcohol. Some people can use it recreationally for enjoyment, and there's no harm, no foul. Other people, if you get to the point where you need to take a bong hit to get out of bed, there's an obvious problem. But whether the government should continue to interfere with this, I don't think the government should have laws banning things like marijuana because, for one thing, they're pointless. Having a law like that doesn't really dissuade people from using marijuana because tens of millions of people use it anyway, whether it's illegal or not. And passing laws against things that people are going to do anyway just generally breeds further disrespect for the government. People should be able to do largely whatever they want, in my opinion, unless it harms another person.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the point. It's the principle. It is not about the marijuana. Today, it's the marijuana. 80 years ago, maybe it was the wine or the alcohol in general. I mean, after all, the main question I always say around to my friends that they believe that they have the right to tell me what I should drink or eat or smoke. Who owns my body? Me or the collectivist? Me or the government? That was come down to. Because if the government can say, no, you cannot eat that. Like now in New York, you heard about, probably they repeal it. There was the Bloomberg, the mayor. And, he said, they passed a city ordinance that pretty much decide what type of size of soda you were able to drink. You remember the type of ordinance?
It wasn't an ordinance. Something to do with either their food regulators or their health regulators passed some regulation that you couldn't sell a certain soda of a certain size, but I don't even know if it ever went into effect because there was a lot of public outrage about it.
It was repealed by the Superior Court.
I was in New York this past summer, and I made a point of going to, I think it was a 7-Eleven there, and getting a big old drink. And then I took a picture of myself next to a Statue of Liberty sculpture that was outside the Circle K or 7-Eleven, just to do it.
I agree. And that's people, especially, I have a lot of, I tend to find the things I agree with people, even sometimes a lot of things I don't agree. For example, with the left or what is called left, they think that marijuana, it's their right. And I agree with you guys. It's your body. You should have a choice to decide, and this is coming from somebody I don't even smoke. I hate it. At the same time, I look at the other rights that they want to pretty much tell us that we don't have, like the gun rights or other type of freedom. And that's something we need to hopefully get a common point. But now talking about the people on the right, They agree with many things about, gun rights, property rights, or whatever. And then we came one point that really I lose them. It's if you really believe that we have freedom and freedom comes responsibility, and you believe that the government should not tell us, not interfere with our personal matters of life, why you must tell me that that's immoral or that's dangerous and I suppose not to drink, like you're my dad or like you're my mom, And that's I really have said, because I know there are smart people out there and they got trapped into this sort of I think funny moralistic thing. It mostly comes from their churches, maybe, I don't know. And I'm a Christian guy, but I don't listen to priests. It's kind of a different attitude, I don't know. So I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed sometimes, because I think it would be so beautiful in this state. Forget about the medical aspect of marijuana. I drink beer not because I'm sick, I enjoy it. Somebody else wants to smoke, they should smoke because they enjoy it. And honestly, it can be less dangerous than drinking a bottle of vodka, empty stomach, So my 2 cents is my little rant about it. Now, talking about still gun laws, we know that alcohol and guns never get along.
Absolutely.
That's our duty as a law-abiding citizen. We know at the range, don't drink, don't shoot. If you drink, you stay away. But also we were talking about if you are in a bar, okay, we were talking before, you're supposed not to, if you have a CCW, only if you have a CCW, you can carry a gun concealed, though. That's very important. People need to understand. But the bottom line, you see sometimes we see these signs, in the establishment, guns are not allowed. And I have a lot of flack from also the gun owners community, because I always said, I boycott the restaurant, but I will never try to push for any legislation that would forbid their rights to use the business the way they want. There was a bill last year or so, they were trying to push a bill that they were saying, establishment like private business, restaurants or whatever, or other type of private business, they must always allow somebody with a gun. I think it's wrong, because I believe in property rights. If we believe in freedom, we want to be consistent. I cannot impose their will, my will on their business just because I have a gun. We have a choice to don't go there, like I did with National Bank a few years ago. We did a little boycotting and worked pretty well. But what is your position about that?
I tend to agree with that. They own the business, and they don't have to like guns, and they don't have to like people that carry guns. And if they say this is my business and I don't want people that have guns here, they want to post a sign like that, they're welcome to post it. I respect that sign. I'll look at it, take my business elsewhere. And I'll also know that if I was a killer or some homicidal bank robber or something, and I walked over there and said, I'm going to knock over this restaurant and steal the cash register's proceeds, and I saw that sign, I'd be going, okay, likely nobody in here ready to stop me. And so that would be more incentive to probably rob that particular place.
Exactly. And that's what happened, for example. Remember, and I normally I don't like to put names out, but it's important because it happened. It's documented. It's on YouTube. If you go National Bank, Golden Valley, I think it was 3 years ago almost, National Bank started to do statewide in Arizona this sign, gun-free zone. And, I have several bank accounts. That was my business account. And I went there immediately, and I talked to the manager politely, and I say, what should I do? Because I'm going to shut down my business right now. And kind of shocked because, wow, just because of the gun? Yes, because of my rights. And the good thing, it wasn't just me. Other people started to call. We called straight Phoenix. In less than 24 hours, after several calls from different parts of the states, I understand that. But YouTube, I think, really helps. That's like the video camera is the first weapon to inform. We voted with our dollars, and they removed the sign. Never happened anymore. And I have had a situation like that. Mojave State Bank, they tried for 3 days. And the Staples in Kingman, they tried for like less than a week. Always dialogue, conversation. And remember that they understand that we are not a bunch of freaks. They think we are all red. Nothing wrong with the rednecks, okay? But they try to paint us like we are people from the mountains, eating with our knife, okay? We are regular people. I do business, but I know my rights. And I said to the Staples too, you do what you want. First of all, if something happens to me, or even at the bank, when I'm here and getting cash out of the bank, you don't provide me security, I'm going to get you liable because you disarm me, and then you put me in a situation that I have all this cash on me, and then you don't even provide me any type of safety, So we need to articulate our rage in a nice, polite, law-abiding citizen way and vote with our dollars. I believe that,
I just never understood the point of that, because do they think that some sort of dissuasion where a criminal says, I'm about to knock over this bank. Oops, there's that sign. I guess I'm not going here. I'll choose another bank. I mean, what's the point?
Exactly. And that's very serious. Because there was also a nice Fox. You see the Fox News little spoof video, like a couple minutes. People can YouTube it, find it on YouTube. It's Gun-Free Zone. It's a comedy. I mean, it's great. You know, it's like sort of a parody. You see, they put this sign, Gun-Free Zone, and the criminals stop. Oh, damn it, there is a gun-free zone. I can do that. So that's true, guys. And, you know, people that don't like guns, you don't need to agree. You don't need to buy guns. I'm not telling you that you have to do anything, but think about it. You're in a room with a serial killer that start to go in some sort of, let's say, a school or an office, a bank. And sometimes people, they don't go there just to make a living or steal, okay? That would be bad enough. They're really evil people that they like to kill, or because they're on drugs, or because they're on medication, or just because they're evil. What would you like to have? Everybody gun-free zone, or maybe a law-abiding citizen that is trained and may try to stop that act of evil? Think about it. You don't even need to do that. Maybe somebody else is trained and he put his dedication and his love into try to prevent that. So that's why I think, you know, they're kind of living in a utopistic world, because how long it takes before, let's say, there is an act of violence, even in a bank. You know, somebody starts to kill just for fun. They do it. Not maybe here, but they've been doing it around the country. How long it would take before the police shows up?
Well, as the saying goes, when you have only seconds, the police are minutes away.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you're responsible for your own security. Yes, it's nice to call the police and hope they can get there, but ultimately, it's your responsibility.
Good. Listen, meanwhile, guys, I want to play another song of my new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. People think, you know, my songs about, you know, Goddamn the Queen and Second Amendment and Come and Take It, The Line in the Sand. I also write love songs, okay? So just to give you a little bit different side of me, since also this show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom, and on the CD there is a beautiful picture of heart. I will play for you. Let's see which song. Let's see. I like a nice little song. I would do, like, for example, you pick a song. Okay, from number 7, 8, A Brand New Day, track 8, I Want to Forget You, number 9, Another Day. You pick one of those three.
Well, let's go with I Want to Forget You.
Okay, so you got a little bit of rock there, okay? This is not exactly my ballad, but it's romantic hard rock, I guess. Okay.
To forget you, I know I will regret you. If there is a way, I'm gonna find it. I want to forget you. I wish I'd never met you. If there is a way, I'm gonna find it. It's been so long since I felt what you made me feel. It'll be too long before I feel it again. It's been so long since I found somebody like you. It'll be too long before I love again. I could just tell you that we could just be friends. I could just tell you that it's not the end. Just say a simple lie, but I cannot hurt you. Oh, baby, I'd rather die. I want to forget you. I know I will regret you. If there is a way, I'm gonna find it. I want to forget you. I wish I'd never met you. There is a way, I'm gonna find it. All right.
I Want to Forget You. Music and lyrics by myself, Luca Zanna. and you can listen to the rest of the song. By the way, my songs are also free on YouTube, believe it or not, okay? But don't be cheap. You can buy it for just 99 cents. As I said, differently from the government, we do not steal your money. We ask them politely, okay? Now, a little bit about news. Eric is my guest, Eric Engan from Kingman, great attorney, great patriot. I like Eric. He's a gun owner. And sometimes, we don't need to agree on everything. Let me tell you, I have sometimes on Facebook things that we don't agree with Eric. But what we are like, we agree on basic one concept. We believe in the Bill of Rights. We believe that we are free. At least we are not body's slave. That's the concept. And talk, we like music and guns, so that's great.
If there's something you don't agree with me on, just research it carefully, give it a lot of thought, and realize that you're wrong, and we'll move on from there.
Exactly, Anyway, but that's the beautiful. And one thing said, I had some friends, okay, common friends. I don't want to mention it. On Facebook, that we are completely the opposite on us, or 99%. We have sometimes we believe, but we are polite, We always been polite. We always trying to joke around, I just sometimes get a little dramatic when somebody tried to use the idea we said before. We agree to disagree. I mean, why they want to steal your money? I really get mad because it's not just agreeing to disagree. You want to force the government to steal what is not yours and redistribute. So that's called socialism / communism. That is not even for the people. It becomes mostly for corporate welfare. People don't understand socialism. It is not for the people. Socialism is for the corporations. They pretty much they don't want competition. One of the things Mr. Rockefeller's grandfather said, competition is a sin. So they want to use government, the graduation of this sort of income tax, okay, that we have since 1913, was created to not only enslave us in bondage, but more important, to destroy the competition from the middle class. Because you're going to pretty much stop any new signs of new potential, a free market success story. At least, you can still make it. But at the end of the day, you have like a monkey on your back. That's the way I look at this. Every time you go reach for a banana in the field, you still one of your, out of two, you get one of the banana from you. I mean, it's kind of sad. You know about the Federal Reserve is not federal, by the way. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I know there's a whole lot of people that spend a lot of time worrying about the Federal Reserve. I don't personally because I think I'm kind of stuck with it. I do note that every time you see one of those things about when does Tax Freedom Day come, it seems every year it's another day or two later where you stop giving your money to the government and then for the rest of the year what you earn belongs to you. And if I recall correctly, it's somewhere in April or something like that, which means that for the first 3.5 months out of the year, everything you're earning is going to the government. And sometimes the government spends your money wisely, but all too often they seem to spend it on foolish things and income redistribution, which is
Eric, there was a couple of things that I really got it shocked me when I learned about that. First of all, before 1913, we did not have a central bank. By the way, it's part of the communist plans, okay, to have a central bank when they also manage what's supposed to be the rights and the duty of the Congress. Only Congress is supposed to be in charge, according to the Constitution, to pretty much printing or regulating the money. Now we have an entity. The Federal Reserve is not government; it's private. It's a corporation from Delaware, and they have different shareholders. Everybody can go there and check it out. Find out there is also the document on Google. You can find it. And the point is, now we have this bank that takes away from us the sovereign power as Americans to print our own currency and then charge us the interest because they can. They don't even need to print anymore. Now it's all digital, you know that. And the bottom line is so sad because people say, we need taxes. We need to pay for the roads. First of all, the roads, the taxes don't get there. It's not the type of tax. Come from the gasoline or other sources. But my point is, before 1913, this country was the most successful, wealthy country. We had armies, we had roads, we had everything we needed and no debt. Since we created this entity, or they created, President Wilson sold us out, and he admitted that before he left office. Now we're under the control. Every time we need $1 for any service or any type of welfare or warfare or whatever, we need to go to masters. They print for us, and they ask us for the interest. And there was a Ronald Reagan congressional investigation, I forgot the name, there was a specific name, you can find out, that proved that 90% of the income tax, all it does to pay, it's the interest on the debt. Why? We're supposed to be free. Our founding fathers fought because we're supposed not to more give the fruit of our labor to a king, a lord, or in this case, a bunch of bankers that we don't even know their names. That's why I say, I don't want to sound like, oh my God, again with the Federal Reserve. Yes, again. Because when I come out here and I learn that we didn't have a Federal Reserve, we were free. And I know it happened 100 years between. And I want to get it back the way we used to be, And maybe it will take another 100 years, but we need to start somewhere. And the first way we can start knowing history, knowing what we used to be, So I'm sorry, it's my little rant. I go crazy after this stuff. Anyway, guys, today just I wanted to let you know a little bit about news, okay? Because I have some news for you, some good news. First of all, Senator McCain, he was censored by the GOP of Arizona. Did you hear about that news?
I did.
Kind of interesting because 3.5 years ago, me and a few patriots, we were trying to pass out a voting record, famous Mojave County property, to try to know that Senator McCain wasn't exactly what people thought, And of course, I was stopped, blah, blah, blah. But now, finally, the rest of the Republican Party start to wake up. So I don't want to say I told you, but I'm glad at least they joined the club, okay? So good news with that. Now, another thing I would like to say, there was another senator that is a new replacement pretty much. It's called Senator Flake, I am a registered Republican, but I don't really care because it's not about the party. When I became an American, I took an oath to defend the Republic and the bill and the Constitution. Whenever a party, I didn't join America to become a Republican slave, okay, or Democrat slave. So I like the platform because it used to be something. Now, of course, got taken over, but I still want to be there because I think we have a chance to try to get it back. But regardless, my duty as a Republican is to talk to my fellow Republicans representative and tell them what I think. So a few days ago, county supervisor was putting on Facebook, hey, if you have any question for Senator Flake, I'm going to meet him. And I say, I wish I could be with you because I have some questions too. And I also send her these questions. I don't know if she ever told her. Ask him. This is the question for you, Senator Flake. I hope you can hear it. You can understand me also in my accent. Okay, dear Senator Flake, how much did you get paid to sell us out to the new amnesty along with that Maver, I can say that, Rick, you understand what? Or McCain. So you understand. Number one question, and I'm serious. Number two, how would you feel if one day your sons were declared suspect terrorists and locked indefinitely without access to judge or jury, according to your NDA, National Defense Authorization Act, that you voted in favor? It's a good question, do you think? It's pretty serious. Number three, when you will stop to cave in and kiss the Democrats, can I say the word? Posterior, like you did with Bill H.R. 2775. If you don't know what it is, go find out, people. Number four, when you will stop flipping and flopping on your position on the Second Amendment regarding Obama gun control. You know about that. This is a flip-flopper, man. It's terrible. I can't stand it. Number five, how do you sleep at night knowing that you have cut benefits of disabled veterans while left loopholes for illegal aliens to collect benefits? Question mark. So, if I ever had the chance to bring a Senator Flake in this place, in this room, I lock the room, first of all, throw the keys away. Just joking. I don't want to entrap anybody, knocking up. I would just say, have an honest conversation. The beautiful thing, I tell you these things with a smile. I'm not even trying to be, I need to tell you the truth, though. That's what I really feel, And I wish he had the balls to say, come on, let's go. And I don't care if we disagree, but at least be honest, That's what I ask. I ask honesty. From the politicians, I have more respect sometimes for Democrats. At least I know where they stand. They want to just rob us and enslave us. Simple as that. We're supposed to be the little kids. At least I know. I don't vote for them. When I have somebody like him that goes around wrapping the flag, Mr. Captain America, and then look what he's doing. We got a problem.
Well, his version is, yeah, you can vote for me, or you can vote for the other guy.
Yes.
And when you look at the other guy is so horrible that you'll gladly vote for Flake, even if you think he's a deeply flawed candidate.
Guess what? Even as a Republican, I did not vote for you. Last time I voted for a Libertarian. Guess what? You see, that's why they trap us in this party stuff.
Yeah.
When I see that the poison is poison, I'm sorry. I don't care. And I was right. I wish I was wrong. I say, okay, he was a good guy. I didn't understand it, but I knew it. I had to see it with his voting records. Anyway, now, another important thing I had here a couple of weeks ago, Sheriff Richard Mack. Okay, it's a very famous sheriff. Probably, I don't know if you heard the story about this Supreme Court case, United States against, Prince Mack against the United States was during the Clinton administration. We talked about last time. He had a convention in Las Vegas for Constitutional Sheriff Association. All different peace officers joined together in Las Vegas to really pretty much remember and refresh their oath. Say, we are here to defend the Constitution and the rights of the people. Very normal thing. There is a police chief from a town of New Mexico. They knew that he was going to this convention, okay? And he was stopped at the airport by the feds. He was questioned. He was detained for a little bit, for about 40 minutes. And then he went to the convention. When he came back, he was suspended. And all the police department was disbanded for political affiliations, and the only political affiliation was to enforce and defend the Constitution. I couldn't believe it. I found the article, by the way. You can find it also on, just Google it. I give you the name, Police Chief Shane Harger. Just to let you know, it is in New Mexico, and the town is Janet Springs, New Mexico. And I called also Sheriff Mack. It was here. He wrote me back officially. He confirms. So now we have a political retaliation. This man has lost his job. All his police department got disbanded just because he was attending a political, not even a political, a constitution convention for peace officers. And the convention is recorded. There is no even one act of or one word of violence or anything. They were just to say, we want to enforce the Constitution, like Sheriff Mack has been doing since ever. So what do you think about it? It's kind of disturbing.
Well, do they have an official reason why they said we're disbanding your police department? They must have some quote-unquote reason that they have. They can't come up and say, by the way, you're fired for attending this convention. We don't like that. They have to have some other reason.
I'm sure. Now it's on administrative leave, so probably it's going to be some sort of official investigation and things like that. All I know that I'd like to know more about it. I don't know everything, but it sounds, unfortunately, like we have not just this case. We think about the IRS has been proven that they've been the arm of the administration to go after people that believes in, Constitution or all these different movement, Tea Party. So wouldn't surprise me anything. I mean,
if you come out nowadays and say, "Hey, I'm a patriot," that's all of a sudden now that's a bad word in certain circles. Yeah. Hey, I'm a constitutionalist. That's a bad word too. Yeah. You're some kind of dangerous fruitcake, and we need to watch you. That's
exactly
how some branches of the government seem to respond.
I mean, there are Homeland Security report at different level, and also dispatch it to different local agencies. It's been now I used to say that a few years ago when Bush was there. People thought I was crazy, a conspiracy theorist. Homeland Security already labeled. People that believes in the Constitution, believe in the Bill of Rights, believe in freedom, don't believe in global government, don't believe in communism, and there is a long list. And of course, veterans, top of the list. We all potential domestic terrorists. Now, finally, the masses start to get it. It's official. It's out because Fox News talk about it. When they were just talking about their documents, that you read documents from the source, you're a conspiracy theorist. Then when mainstream, media, whatever, fine, at least we got it there. Now, there is a official record, also in the news, Homeland Security bought more than 2 billion rounds of ammunition. Do you know about that?
Yes.
They have about 3,000 armored vehicles, okay, on U.S. soil. I remind the listeners that the ammunition, they are hollow point, so don't start to put excuses for the military because according to Geneva Convention, you cannot use hollow point. It is just for domestic. What is your opinion about that? What is your take?
I want some of those 2 billion rounds. I paid for them.
I know. I wish we had that too. But besides that, because I always wish we can get some free ammo too. But what is it about? What do you think?
I don't know what to think of that because they have some sort of official explanation. Oh, this is for training and whatnot. But like you said earlier, you can get ball ammunition, which is not jacketed hollow point, for probably about half the price of what a jacketed hollow point round costs. And if you're going to train, usually you train with ball ammunition for that very reason. So why they need all this exotic ammunition is beyond me.
And by the way, do you know about also the targets? There was another contract with the manufacturer of shooting targets, paper targets, and was more than $1 million of contract. And the images of
the pregnant woman target.
Yeah, the pregnant woman. Yeah. Just say,
the 9-year-old target.
Or the Mr. John Deere hat target. I mean, listen, we need to look at like a puzzle. I know sometimes it's hard to face it and believe that in America this is happening, but I cannot stop avoiding to see all this coming together, you know? I mean, executive orders. We know that didn't happen just today with Obama. We're still under emergency executive order since FDR. We still have a couple minutes before we go there. One message, if you have to say anything you want to our listeners. Go ahead, Eric.
Be safe.
Come on, give me more.
Be safe. Don't get into trouble. If you need an attorney, call an attorney and take what I say for informational value, but do not rely on it as legal advice. And again, be safe.
And also another thing, you know, I like Eric because he's not just a typical attorney. He's also on Facebook. It's fun. I have a lot of good time. If sometimes I'm trying to work during the day, I can't stop to interact with him and maybe the other side. But please join him on Facebook. He has what is your Facebook page? You remember that? Just
it's under my name.
Just Eric
I think
Engan?
I'm the only Eric Engan in the entire country, so
okay.
I'm not hard to find.
So go find him and join him, be his friend. And hey, I'm going to get you on the next time. We're going to go shoot together, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, by the way, if you want to go to listen to the show, I have the archives. I know that today is some sort of a Super Bowl. So you're going to find all the archives at lovegunsfreedom.com. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.